Hello and welcome to this Java tutorial. So we are going to start from the beginning, uh, how to install Java. So if you have not done Java before, this is a good place to start. So as you can see, we are going to do step-by-step guide, and we are going to do some examples along the way. So we're going to, in this video, we're just going to focus mostly on the basics, very basics, how to install Java on your system, what kind of tools you can use to write your source code, and then we're going to write a very simple program, and we're going to touch a little bit on the data types actually. So first thing first, in order to learn this Java programming language, you need to have something called JDK installed on your system actually. So this is the very first step. So what you can do is, if you're not a Java installed on your system, you can download it from the Oracle website. So let's quickly go and see what we can do, how you can download the Java. Before you download, what you can do is go to the command prompt on your system. You just type cmd, it brings the command window, and if you type like java version, it can tell you if you have the version Java installed. As you can see, so on my system I see Java version 1.8.0. this is already installed actually. But if you have not installed Java on your system, what you can do is you go to here, download JDK, and you can download it for like Windows 10, 64-bit, or it depends what kind of operating system you have. So I'm just going to search it for Windows 10 64-bit because that's what my laptop is for. So I'm going to go here, and you click on this one, and you can see we have Java SE development kit. This is available. So you can get the latest, the Java 17.2, but I think shouldn't really matter too much. So you can just take the latest one here, and here you see there are different operating system: Linux, Mac OS, and Windows. So depending upon your operating system, in my case it's Windows, so I can go to Windows, and then you can either get this file or you can get this one. These are the installers actually. So once you download one of these files, you have to just double click and just follow the instructions, and it should be able to install Java on your system. So once the Java has been installed, you can go back again into this command prompt window and just try to do Java version. If for whatever reasons, if this command doesn't show you anything here, and let's say if I don't have Java installed, it probably will show some kind of error message. So what you can do is, it means the Java is not in your path of the system actually. So what you can do is, so let me see in my case. So I'm just going to go to my file explorer here quickly, and I know that my Java is installed. See, you go to program files, then you have Java here, and I have JDK, this one. And what you have to do is you have to go to bin directory, because that's where all the Java programs are installed. So this is the program I was trying to run. If you see, I said Java, I'm trying to run this program, and that's version. So what you can do is you get this here, you copy this whole thing. We need to add this in our path. So what you can do is, again, go to your the search window and try to search for like system settings, this one here. Okay, so in my case it's asking for like admin password, so that's fine. So, and you get to this window called system properties, and it's going to advanced. So what you can do is you have to click on this environment variables, click on this one, and if you come down in the system variables window, which is below here, you see there's a path, and what you can do is edit it. And there are a lot of paths already here, and what you can do is you can say new, and you can just paste your stuff here and just save it actually. And now you click OK, and after you click OK, so let me just remove it because I don't want to really put it here, so I'm just trying to remove it. But once you do OK, then what you can do is you have to close this window, the one you have already opened here, because it will not still work. So what you have to do is you have to open another window here, CMD command window, and it doesn't matter which directory you are right now, so you have to still do again, and it should show the Java version you have. So it will tell you that Java is installed in your system, or JDK is installed on your system. Okay, so we're done this part actually. So once you have JDK installed, then next step is we want to do Java development actually. And in order to do Java development, there are a lot of development tools available in the market, and one of them most commonly used and is free is called Eclipse IDE actually. So you can start using this one, or if you have any preference for other tools, you can use that one as well actually. So you can still, for this one, in order to download this one, you can go to this Eclipse IDE. You can just say, Windows 10 download stage, so it should just take you somewhere directly to the download page. So there's 32-bit, there's a 60 available on this one, so I think there's newer releases available here. So let's see, yeah. So Eclipse IDE for Java developers. There are other different flavors of this one, like Eclipse IDE for enterprise Java and web developers. So even if you download this one, they should work similar. They have usually some more additional features available for doing your development. For if you're just starting with Java, you can just download this one actually, and you can just download it for like 686, 64. And if you, after you download this file, you can just double click on the .exe file, and you should be able to install Eclipse on your system. And just remember the location where did you install it, and then you have to just double click on that icon in order to open the Eclipse. So in my case, I already have the Eclipse installed, and I just opened it, and you see right now it's just blank actually. So we're going to just try to and do our first program here actually. So for the Java programming language, one of the thing is a subject-oriented language, and we are just going to learn by doing examples actually. And I strongly recommend that you just don't watch the video, you start doing it yourself, start typing the code yourself, and that's the best way to learn any programming language, or even coding for anything actually. So what we are going to do here is, when you open Eclipse, it will look like very similar like this one actually. So what I'm going to say is, I'm going to say create a project actually, because everything in Java is a project actually. So within the project, then we start doing our coding actually. Okay, so say what kind of you can use some kind of widgets here. There are a lot of stuff available. So I'm going to say I want to do a Java project actually. Click on this one, and I'm going to put a name for this. I call it Learn Java. And there is a location where the code will be stored, and in my case this is the location, but you can choose whatever you want. You can put your own location here actually. And other than that, there shouldn't be nothing on this page. Just keep the defaults, click next, and you can see there's a default output folder. When we compile the program, all the compiled classes will go into this folder here, and you can just say finish. and you can just create it, just keep it. You don't need to do anything on this one. So one of the things you need to do is, so if you click this project here, before you go any further, I want to make sure that this Eclipse needs a JDK. And remember, the JDK we downloaded initially from the Oracle website. So I want to make sure you are able to find that one here. So you click on this preferences, this window in the preferences, and you want to find the compilers and not the compiler but install GREs. In my case, I think it's pointing to some default GRE I have, but what you can do is you can click this button and standard VM, and then you can find the directory where you install your JDK, and then it will come up here. So you can just I'm just going to cancel it, but that's the first step. Okay, so I'm just going to close this one. We don't need this one. So you see, Learn Java is the first project I created, and by default it takes what are the GREs there, so you don't need to really get into this one. So but there's a folder called source folder here. I think this was from my previous exercise I deleted, so I'm just going to delete and just so this is a folder where you can write your source code. But before you write your source code, in the Java there is a concept of packages. Packages are basically, you can think of it as a different groups or containers for the code. So you can keep related set of code in one package, another set of code in a different package. So it's more like more of a code management thing actually. So let's see, I'm going to create a package. So before you do anything, you have to create a package, and it's going to create, this is our source folder, and it's going to create a package. And the packages are usually, there's a convention used, but you can do whatever you want. Like, if you, let's say, work for Oracle, and we know that Oracle is oracle.com, and you go in the reverse order like this, com.oracle. Let's say work in this company, so you will start like this, com.oracle. Then let's say whatever group you work in, let's say work in a group 1 in your company, and let's say you in the group, and your project is called project, and then you can finish it. So it will create this ones. But in our case, because we're just using it for testing, so I'm just going to pick some dummy name here, com, and I'm going to say company dot let's say project. That's it. I'm going to go. So you see, now we have the package here. So now we have this package. Now you can start writing code actually. Even if you didn't have a package, you can still start writing your code, but that will be okay for learning purpose, or if your project has only very few files. But once your number of files increases in your project, you want to have this packages. So now what you can do is, so you go to this package and you click new, and you say class, because in Java any file you create is really a class actually. So that's what it is. So you see this, it says source folder this, package is this by default, and you have to give a class name. And I'm going to call this very first class main, and we will learn about this stuff, but I think modifiers is public, and superclass by default whatever comes here is Java, because we will talk this later too, but every class in Java extends from object if you don't specify anything. There's no interfaces. And which method stubs would you like to create? So because this is a Java tool, So it has some, built-in features. It will do some, it will create some kind of template for you automatically. So I said public static void main because this is the main method in a class. So let's do finish. Okay, here we go. So few things to know. So this is our very first class of the Java, and you can see the package automatically came. It comes on the top, com.company.project, and if you notice, we call this file main.java, and you see the name of the class is also main. So this main and this have to match. So if you call it something different, this has to be different too, actually. Otherwise, it will start giving you error. And public main is a public, class is a, this is a class. So in Java, we have a concept of these classes. And by default, as I mentioned, there is a method. This is one of the bare minimum code you need. The main method is the entry point into your program, actually. So whenever you run this file or this class, it will look for this main method. And you see this main method has some kind of signature. So we'll deal with it, just one by one. So public main, anybody can call it. Static means this class doesn't need to be instantiated, so you can just call this method directly. Void mean this method doesn't return anything. Main, the method has to be main. So this is a entry point, and it takes certain arguments. This is array of arguments. These are array of strings. So this array. So we are going to learn about this all different kind of arrays, arrays of strings, arrays of integers, kind of stuff in the next tutorial. So, but for now, I think we don't need to worry too much. As with every new language you start learning, there's always something like we write hello world program. So what we're going to do is we are going to just write this our hello world program quickly here. And I'm just going to save it. So I just pressing Control S to just save it, actually. So this is the minimum line of code you need. So you see, we have this main method, this entry point into this program, and we just said system.out. So this is a built-in, libraries into Java. So you just call them if you want to print something on the screen. So this is a standard format. So if I click this button, I said it says run main method. And this is my output window console here down. You just keep looking here. I click on this one. Wow, error during a boot layer. Okay. I think let's see what happened here. Let me just clean up it here because I think I might have some previous code sitting there. Let's try to run it now. Practice com.unknown not found in module. Okay, so I'm going to get rid of this module. I think we don't need it for now, actually. So okay, let me clean it. I think it's still looking for that file. Let me see. Let me just clean it one more time. Okay, com.unknown.main. So I think still looking for this old stuff, actually. So okay, so I just sorry for that little hiccup error. So I just fixed this. I have to just clean up my workspace. So coming back to this program again. So this is still the same program, no changes. One main method here, and there's one statement here. Hello world one. Let's fix this one. Hello world, and you just save it. And the only thing you just do is run. and you see the output is here, hello world. So this is our first program. We just ran it. In Java, you need to have at least one class in your system with one method called main. It doesn't have to be main, you can call it whatever you want to call, but the file name and this class name has to be same, and there has to be a main method, and this is the signature of the main method. We will go through this method details later. We are going to learn some more methods. So this was about writing the very first program actually, and let's do a little bit quickly. Let's say we want to add two numbers actually, and I'm just going to do this thing. So basically, when you're adding two numbers, let's say we have to ask the input from the user. They're going to enter number 1, they're going to enter number 2, and then we're going to show them the result. So let's we're just going to practice it quickly. So in order to do that, in order to get the input from the users, so there's a class called scanner, and scanner. So we'll discuss about these classes. So this is so Java has a set of libraries which has reusable classes. So one of them class is this one actually. So so it's asking where are we getting the input from actually. So I'm going to just say system.in. This simply means it's coming from the keyboard, but in this case, but it could come from a file or some other source too. Okay, so this scanner is there, and this is going to ask for input from the users. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to write another system statement here. We'll break down this. I think we are going a little ahead of ourselves, but I think I'm just going to give you a little bit feel of it, how it will look like. Enter first number. So user will see this method, and after that we have to use this scanner class. We create an object of it, and we're going to talk about the subjects later. So we can say scanner dot next byte. Let's say we want to say next, so we can just say next byte. So it's going to ask the input. So whatever you enter on the screen, so this scanner is going to read that. But in order to, once we read the value from the keyboard, we need to store it somewhere. So let's say we want to call it number 1. So whatever the value comes is stored in this variable, but this variable needs to be defined. What type of variable is this? So we're going to go through this data types little later, but right now we call it byte. I'm going to copy these two lines again, and we're going to ask for the enter, let's say second number, and we're going to again use the same scanner but store the number in number 2. And now what we want to do is we want to say byte result equal to number 1 plus number 2 . Okay, I'm going to put in int, and I will explain you why this is happening, because there are this number plus this one, when you add 2 bytes, and if you use the maximum value of those bytes, it could really overflow, so it needs to store in a bigger data type int. So we're going to go through all of them actually, so no worries for now. So I'm going to print the result now. So let's see, result equal to result, and this one, save it, and I'm going to run it now actually. Let's see. Okay, see, hello world is still there, but it says enter first number, so I'm going to say 10. It says enter second number, I say 30. Result is 40. So you just get a feel of it, how we are doing it. So they're just doing something very basic actually. So I think the next thing, I think the video is getting a little bigger, so I'm going to cover data types in our next video soon. So I think data types are very important. They tell you what kind of data you can store, and depending upon your requirement for the program, let's say you want to store somebody's identity, some kind of number. So you need to store like integers. If you want to store some values which are fractions, they're floating point or double, those kind of stuff. So we have different kind of data types. So we are going to go through them in the next video. And if you like the video, please like it, subscribe to the channel. And if you didn't like the video, please provide your input in the comments. I'm looking forward for those. Actually, it's very important for me to know if there's any improvements you want in this video, so that I can just incorporate those changes as we go along for the next set of videos. Thank you for watching and have a good one.